Hi everyone, this is Jan, and today I want to show you how to do a simple trivet or coaster with fabric wrapped rope. And what I have for you right now is just some of the little trivets or coasters or bowls or little trinket dishes that I've made with rope, and I think they're a lot of fun to do. And being we have Thanksgiving coming up, I thought it'd be nice if you wanted to make some trivets for your dinner table, or even some small coasters, maybe bread baskets to put on your table. And you can even put your fabric in the bottom here of your little trinket dish. And then just make your little bowl. You can also do an embroidery. Now on this one, what I did was do an embroidery first. And then I went ahead and put some batting underneath it and put it in the bowl, and then I went ahead and made the bowl so that when you turn the back over, it's still fabric wrapped, similar to what the Kimberbell bowls are, but theirs don't have the fabric on the back here. They just have the embroidery, and then you start on the side here. But this one I just did a little different because I wanted to see if I could do and add the embroidery in the top of the bowl there, and you'd still have wouldn't have to start it on the side there. So that was just an idea how to do that. This is trivets here. I also added a hanger at the top here so that you can hang it, and then I have finished it with some little fringe down here, and it's the same on both sides, and I also used some variegated thread on that. And then I make coasters. This would be like a matching coaster to go with the trivet there. And if you don't want to do wrapped fabric, you can go ahead and just use your thread. This is a variegated thread just on rope. That is easy to go ahead and do. Now the first thing that you're going to do, if you're going to wrap your fabric, is you are going to cut 1-inch strips. So I just pick out holiday fabrics, in the oranges and different fall colors, and I just cut the fabric in 1-inch strips. And when I lay them out like light medium, a little darker medium. This would be considered a dark. And then I lay out some solids and other darker colors that I could use for my little coasters or trivets. And I keep them lined up here by the machine, and that's how I lay them out. And as I pick them up, you're just going to pick one up, and you're going to wrap your cording, your clothesline cording, with these. Okay, now when you're picking out your rope, there's different brands you can get. This one here is the Kimberbell. Okay, let's see here. There we go. Now this rope is probably one of the best ropes that I have used. It's very nice. It's soft, but it's expensive compared to the other ones that I use. This one's about $20 for this bundle of rope here, but like I say, it is nice to work with. It feels really nice. Your projects turn out really well. So if you want, just depends on how much money you want to spend on your rope bowls. Okay, so that's your most expensive one. And then if you want to get some other ropes, that this one here is from Amazon. I have used the Scotty cotton clothesline. This one is 7/32 inch diameter, and you can see I have some already wrapped that I started, and this is nice rope. You can tell the difference in the color, though. It's it's not as clean looking as the Kimberbell here, but it works very nice. So I've been happy with this one. And then also sometimes on Amazon, this will be the same thing, but it's a different name. It will be under Avondale. And I have found, now this one looks a little lighter than this one right here, but I have found that these two brands here on Amazon work very well for the rope bowls. Now the difference is you're going to have a core filling in these. When you pull these back to work with them, you have a core filling right here, and you would cut that off and then pull this back up when you first start your little coaster here, so that it will bend a lot easier. So some of the ropes here, this one too has a core in it. I don't think the Kimberbell has a core in it. I could be wrong though. It's been so long since I used the Kimberbell one, I'm not quite for sure whether it does or whether it doesn't. So whenever you're doing your rope, so you choose your rope, and once you do have your rope and you have your little pieces here, what I like to do is, while I'm watching TV, is I like to go ahead and wrap a little bit of that rope while I'm watching TV. And you can see I started this one here, and I started with my light colors. Let's see, which are down here, and then I worked up this way. And you can see I just wrap it. Now these don't have to be cut on the bias. I know some people will cut on the bias. They say it folds over a lot nicer on the bias, but I just cut on the straight of grain. I don't worry about it. But if you want to cut on the bias, you certainly can. Now when you're wrapping your end to start, now this one is, I finished the end here and I use little clips to wrap it. But when you first start the end of this, what you're going to do is, when you pick up your edge here, what you would do is, I just line it up. You want a 45. Well, when I first started, I lay it like that, and then I fold this over. I use a glue stick. I use, this is Sue Daly, but you can do Fons and Porter glue stick. Now, you can also just use a regular glue stick. Now, I like this one. It's kind of gooky on the ends, but I like this one because it's smaller on the top, and when you first apply it and you pull over the top, it sticks. You can still move it around, but it sticks, and it sticks immediately. It doesn't take a while to get it to stick. So when you first start it, you can start on a diagonal like that, and then do your glue like this, fold it over, and then take the right side here, wrap that way. Put my glue stick down here, and then you're going to be on a 45-degree angle, and you're just going to start wrapping. I like using the shorter links because it's easier to wrap. I have arthritis, so I don't want long pieces, but you're going to wrap on a diagonal like this. And you're just going to go all the way around like that. Okay, just like that. Just wrap it. Doesn't have to be mega tight or anything. And when you change for your other piece of fabric, just put a little glue on there, press it down, and then you put your other piece on. Now I overlap when I put my other piece on. Overlap it about halfway. So when you start your other piece, you want to make sure that this other piece is on a 45-degree angle. And I usually take the top of the corner here, the right corner, and I would angle this right here like that. Okay, and then overlap it. And then that way I know as I lap on down, it's going to be at a 45-degree angle. Okay, so that's how I wrap. Okay, this would be glued down, so you wouldn't have to worry about that sticking up. But that is how I go ahead and wrap everything. And then once you have your cord wrapped, then when you start to do your little project, you're going to hold it like this, and then you're just going to twist it. I hold it between my thumb and my large finger. Twist it around like this until you get a little bit of a circle there. Okay, and then we're going to sew this way and we're going to sew that way. And then when we have it under the machine, I'm right-handed, so I have it coming off like a comma. That's the way I'm going to be sewing it. But when you start it, that's how you're going to start it. I would try probably to get this a little tighter, maybe like that. And then hold it with my fingers and start wrapping it around and holding it. Now, some people will use a pin to hold it in place, but I don't do that because if I have pins, I end up sticking myself with them. So I don't do that. I have a little clip here. I usually use clips if I need to hold it. See, that would hold it while you stick it under the machine. And I would do a straight stitch from here down to here, back up, go to the center, and then go from here over to here. And that would anchor that in your sewing machine to where you could go ahead and start your zigzags as you're wrapping and go around like that. Okay, but that's how I would pretty much start it, is like that. And I'll use the clips to hold it. So what I'll do is, this is how you're going to get going. This will keep you busy for, a couple of hours wrapping your fabric and around your rope. And once you get your rope going, then what you'll do, is just lay it off to the side there. And of course, I'm going to be going this direction, and then you would just keep going around and around until you use up all your rope here, and you'll see how big of a trivet you're going to have. I don't have measurements for whether you make a coaster or a trivet or whatever. I just keep wrapping around. I would say this one right here is about 5 inches, this here. And for the trivets, I usually do trivets, let's see how big this one is, about 9 inches. So 5 inches for the coasters and 9 inches for the trivets. Okay, bowls, that's a whole different ball game. I'm just showing you how to do a little trivet to get you going in it so that you can have something pretty to set on your tables for Thanksgiving. You can do this for Christmas too. Just use Christmas fabrics instead of all your little fall colors. I have tons of fall colors from scraps. I like to keep my lengths of my fabric short. These are just fabric strips from when I'm making toppers. You know, none of them are very long, but they're long enough to do little trivets and coasters, and I love that they're shorter in length. I've tried cutting them to where they were real long, and it gets tangled and wrapped up all over everything, and I just don't like it like that. I'd rather have it short like this so that I can lay out my colors and go however I want to. Okay, so go ahead and get your rope, get your fabric scraps out, and go ahead and put it on your rope here, and go ahead and get your little circle started here. Put a little clip on it, and when we come back, I'll go ahead and show you how to start sewing on your little trivet. Okay, if you have any questions, just send me a private message, and I'll be glad to help you and answer any of your questions. All right, I'll see you in a few. Bye for now. Okay, everyone, we're back. I have my sewing machine set up. I have my rope underneath my presser foot here. On the Solaris, I am on a straight stitch, which is number 1-03. My stitch length is maybe 4.5, somewhere in there. What I want to do is I want to stitch a straight stitch all the way to the end of this rope here, and then I'm going to back stitch it. I'm holding it with this clip here. The clip is not underneath that, but you don't want to start on the edge here, because then your presser foot would be, in fact, I like to be more in the middle. You want your presser foot to be even when you're first starting out. I have brought my thread up. I have matching thread in orange. I have a matching bobbin, which is in orange, and I'm using just an Aurifil, I think that's how you pronounce it, thread, because I have a lot of it used for quilting. Okay, so I'm just going to start. I've got a camera in front of me here, so I'm kind of straddling the camera. So I'm just going to press down. Just a minute here, let's see. Okay. And I have a tie off on. Okay. Now I have that, and what I want to do is back up. So we're going to use the back button. And what that did was tie off, and it went ahead and cut it. Okay, so what I have is, I have a little stitch there that is holding that. Okay, I'm going to cut my threads on it. I have to keep looking at the camera here to be sure I'm in the shot here. Okay, I've cut my threads, and now this outside piece here has not been stitched on, so what I would like to do is go ahead and put this under here. I'm going to go the back way to where my clip's over on the left side. I'm going to put my foot down, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch all the way. It's doing a tie off right now. Okay, I'm going to stitch to the end. Then I'm going to push the back button. And it's going to tie off again. And it's going to cut it. Okay. Now my rope is secure as far as it's not going to come undone. So I can take the clip off if I want to. Let's make sure I'm in the camera. Okay, I'm going to take my clip off. Let me cut my threads here. And I will go ahead and one more here. I'm going to flip it over to the back. I don't like loose threads hanging. Okay. Got those done. Now what I want to do is I want to start a zigzag stitch. Okay. So I have stitch number 1-10, which is zigzag, and I want the length, it's got to catch on this rope and this rope over here, so you have to have it pretty wide. I'm going to go on my width, I want to go at least 6 on it. My length, I want to do a length of maybe 2.5, 2 to 2.5. I'm going to start off, well, let's start off with 2 because our circle is real tight here, okay? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go around, let's see, I'm going to not do the tie off or the other one. I've got needle down, okay? And let me start about right here. That's where the little center part, about right there, okay? And my needle's over on the left side. I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to go ahead. Let me see if I can turn this as I'm going. So it should be... Okay, let me put the needle up. Okay, I'm gonna lift the foot up and I want to move it over just a little bit and then put it down. There, now it's catching both. Now I'm gonna turn this like that. It's really stopping on the outside edge. Okay, oops, sorry. Okay, I just want to be sure that I'm getting both sides of that rope. That's the inside, now that's the outside. Okay, put up. Alright, see, so I had it started here. Let me cut this thread right here off. It's a little tedious when you first start. Just a minute here, let me pull this around because I want this off on my right hand side here. I'm just letting it fall. Okay, I'm going to straddle this camera here. And what I'm going to do is as I go around, what I want is I have a little red mark right here which shows the center part of that foot. I have the J foot on. So that little center part has to be in between this rope and that rope right there. That's where you want it. And that way it is sure to catch both sides of your rope. Okay, stop it right there. Now turn it a little bit. Okay, I want that to be kind of in there. It's easier if you go a little faster because then it okay, I have a speed control on this machine and I'm going to turn it down so that my foot is getting stuck on something down here. and it just takes off on me. So I turned my speed control where, you know, where you have one arrow. Well, it's between the 1 and the 2 there. Let's see how fast that is, all right? Now I am on full throttle. Okay, so that's a little slow, so I'm going to bump it up a little bit until I get it where I want it, to where when I push on this speed, on the foot pedal, it's only going to go so fast for me. That's about right. And I want to stop. Okay, there we go. Now, can you see? I don't know if you can see. Let me turn this just a minute here. There we go. That's a little better. I have to move this camera so you can get that. You see the little zigzags? Okay, I am on a zigzag that's on this rope here, and it will go over here. But see, there's my mark. And I want to keep that right in a line, right between these two ropes here. Okay. And as I'm coming around, this will get easier to turn. Okay, it's just a little fidgety right now because the rope, it's small right here. Okay, so now we're going into the second color here. Let me get this to where that's in the center. Oh, I forgot to tell everybody, you do need a 14 needle. If you have a jean needle, I'm just using an embroidery needle because that's what I have in 14, so I'm just using a 14 embroidery needle. After a while, you might have to stop and adjust your eyes because you're constantly looking at that red mark right there to try to keep everything centered. That speed control really helps, okay, when you do that. Now, the more you do on your coasters or whatever, the more comfortable you're going to feel doing them, and it won't take you as long as what your first one's going to take. And you want to be sure that you're not pulling on your rope in any way and making it tighten up, like pulling it down so this tightens up. You want to make sure you keep this flat, okay? I don't have any pressure on this over here. I'm just kind of bending it a little bit, and this hand is turning. Okay, and I'm letting the machine feed this with the feed dogs. I'm not trying to hurry it or anything. Now, depending on if you're doing a bowl or if you're going to do a coaster, a lot of times if you want the bottom of the bowl, you would sometimes start turning this up like this to do a bowl, but I'm doing flat. I'm doing a trivet. I'm just going to go as far as my rope will go. Now, I'm going to bump this up just a little bit. I am now, my speed control's right at the two arrows. So it's right in the center there, okay? say, I'm not pulling on this rope right here. This rope right here, I'm letting the machine feed the rope in, and I just have it right here, right down beside me, off to the right, and I'm using this hand to turn. All I'm doing is just guiding this right over here. Looking really nice. Okay, we'll just keep going here. Now I went off on another color there. And there's another color coming up. You can see how fast these take shape. Once you have the wrapping done, and I just do all my wrapping in front of the TV while I'm watching something else, and then that way when I'm ready to do a coaster or a trivet, everything is ready. My machine's ready, I'm threaded, and I'm ready just to sit down and do a trivet. Okay, let's see. Let me move this over so you can see how pretty that's becoming. Aren't those colors pretty? Now the prettiest colors I have seen for doing these rope bows is when you use batik fabrics. And that's what this one is right here, is a batik. They come out just so gorgeous. Okay, what I did was I got off track here. Okay. So I'm going to back stitch. There. Right there. Okay. I was thinking about measuring this. This one's about 5.5, so if you were going to make a coaster, this would be about the right size for a coaster. But I'm going to continue. I'm going to go ahead and finish this out. Once you have everything prepped and wrapped and your machine threaded, your presser feet changed, your machine ready to go, then it just doesn't take very long at all to just go ahead and do your little trivet or coaster. And that's usually what I do. because most of the time, now see, I'm almost finished with this. Most of the time, I have my machines set up for embroidery. I do very little actual sewing on them. It's just not what I like to do anymore. So for me to change this machine over to just sewing is very rare, but I do like making the trivets for my eBay site. Now I'm coming close to the end here. My foot got stuck again. It gets stuck and it'll go a few more stitches all by itself. Now I have the end here. There's the end. And what you can do is you can cut this. Now this has a filler in it. What I like to do is take, let's see here. I like to take this filler. I like, since I'm at the end here, I like to make a little tassel part. There we go. I'm actually going to cut quite a bit off. You can see, what do I have here? I don't know, what, 1.5 inches or something. I'm going to cut that back with the filler, like that. I'm going to cut that off. Throw that away, and then I'm going to pull this rope. Now you think you've done a lot of cut back on that filler, and it ends up, it's really not that much by the time it's only just a little bit right here. So let's finish this out. Okay, and I'll show you what to do on the end. Okay, there's our end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag it closer together. I'm going to lift my needle up, and I am going to make the length shorter. So instead of 2, I am going to do 1.5, well, 1.4. Let's go 1.4 on this. And I'm going to finish this off. Now I'm going to hit the back button. Okay, forward, let it go forward. Let it go back again. Okay, that's going to be the tie off. And what I will do, I want to reinforce that. So I want a tie off. Okay, so let's do a scissor cut. Alright, there we go. And you can see that, see, I did a little tie off right here with the zigzags a lot closer. So then what I will do with this is I will just take a needle, just a little needle, you know, pin, not a needle, a pin. And I will come through and I will undo this. Let me turn it this way. I think I can get to it a little better. But you can go right in between this rope here and just pull it apart. Let it fray. See, I can see I have a little point there, and twist it around and just fray it out like that. And you can fray it all the way back to right here. Okay. And that's what I like to do with this, is just have it frayed a little bit. I like the frayed look. Now if I just want a little bit of fray on it, like that, now what I can do is just go ahead and sew it. Go ahead and get my thread out again. Okay, got my machine. It is set on 1.4. So let's put the foot down. It's doing a tie off. Just a minute here. I gotta grab it. Okay, now go backwards. Go forward. I like to go finish off backwards back here. Okay, tie off. Okay, now let's lift. The presser foot is up. I'm going to cut my thread. Okay, I'll just cut my threads here. Okay, I'm having to cut these around my camera here. Just a minute. Okay, and let's back up a little bit here. Okay, and let's put it over here so you can see it. Okay, and that's my little coaster. You can see the little frayed edge there, and I've sealed it off right here. Now this little trivet is almost 7 inches wide, and you can see, oops, sorry. And you can see that it's not buckled or anything. When you pick this trivet up, it doesn't buckle or bend. I have seen some trivets. Now I would go ahead and cut these little threads here on the edge. Go ahead and cut those off, especially if you're going to give it to someone. Just cut those off. But isn't that a pretty little trivet? Let's back up. All those orangey colors and everything, but that's how I go ahead and do my little trivets or coasters or whatever you want to make. So have fun with this and make you several of them. If you do your coasters, remember I do coasters 5 inches. I do trivets anywhere from 7 to 9 inches. If you do coasters, do about 4 of them for people, you know, in a set, 4 in a set. And for trivets, you can put them in gift baskets or anything else, but I think they're so pretty to put on the table. They're so colorful. And Christmas is coming up. Do some with Christmas fabrics also, and I'll show some of those a little bit later on. So have fun with this. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe so that you can get all the new videos that I'm posting. Make sure you like. And if I remember, I'll go ahead and put a link to my eBay store. I have several of these in my eBay store, along with table toppers and mug rugs, trivets, you know, things for your home. All right. Everyone take care. Get my hand in here. Okay, bye for now. If you have any questions, you can private message me. Okay. Until next time. I'll see you then.